Is there any discussion? If not, call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Next, we have our financial report.
Get back there.
Ma'am.
Let me get back there. Okay, in your bank statement is on here. Your balance as of 3/1 was $288,352.08. You've had your deposit from your sales tax, interest, checks and debits were written over one of your projects. The balance on 4/2 was $293,914.67. Your sales tax notification came through. We have not cut the check yet, but the check payment that will be going into your bank is $9,829.64 for sales tax. $9,829.64. And that will be going in for the month of March. And that is not included on the last page, which is your kind of overview of all the projects and the expenditures. You had agreed to put the $20,000 toward the $50,000, so I'm reflecting that on here. The road and water line repair around the city park, so far we've only had 2 invoices submitted and paid, and that was the 2 checks that were in your statement for $8,562.25 total. So you still have a balance on that project of $91,437.75. With your bank statement balance of the $293,914.67, taking away your allocated funds of $106,221.29. And I believe that this sales tax deposit has already gone into the bank. It is included in that bank statement balance, so I put it on there for reference, but I didn't do any math with it. Your banking total of expendable funds now is $187,693.38.
What was that last figure?
$187,693.38. And that's on your Excel sheet, which is the very last page down at the bottom.
Okay.
Added to that, when I get the check cut and put in the bank, will be that $9,000 sales tax. So that's not included in these totals here. I just ran across that in the mail today, so it wasn't included.
Tough to looking at the finances. I heard. 187,693.38. And that's not counting the 9.
Not counting the 9,000 sales tax, no.
Complete taxes on
Right, there's a whole box full of them over here.
Oh, not joking.
So many.
Nobody's gonna know about that.
I don't know what they did with your fancy one, is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Gotta save the fancy one.
Get that staggering secret going on.
Any more questions? Discussion?
accept the financials as they are presented.
Got a motion, a second?
I second.
Call for the vote, all in favor, raise your right hand. Business act and or consider accept, Faith Jackson's resignation letter. This was a board, she had, turned in her resignation letter, and we just haven't acted on it, so.
Make a motion, we accept Faith Jackson's resignation.
Second.
Call for the vote, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Letter B, discuss and take action on 2-inch water line, Rabbit Creek before Texas AgriLife East Forum.
That's on 135 East, going out of town, go past Mayfight and going out there. And right past the gun shop, you'll come into where Rabbit Creek crosses the road there. And, the water line goes across the creek, but it's just a 2-inch line, goes across the creek and not supported by anything. And a lot of times when we got by this winter, but a lot of times in the wintertime, water get up in Rabbit Creek and it'll break that line. Something hit it.
Question. Did you put it in, can it be put it in enclosed in some type of pipe? You know, that's what the problem we was having at Jackson Water Supply on 850. When that creek would rise,
Right.
when wood and all that stuff would wash and break that line, so we put it in a steel.
Correct.
Yeah,
No,
so it wouldn't.
and the other problem we got there is there's a 2-inch line, steel line, and it's rotten. And, so every time you turn around, you got a break or a pinhole or something where you have that leak. So what I'm suggesting is go in there and make that creek bore with poly and then tie it back in on each side. And you'll at least have that particular part, right, secure, you know, as far as good pipe, you tie back into the hole and hope for the best again.
Give any type of estimate on what it would cost.
The boring to approximately, cause this is a month old. For the labor and on the bore and all that, you're looking at $12,950 plus the pipe, which we'll use a 2-inch poly pipe. And it goes up and down with gas prices. And it should go up and down with gas prices. It'll probably go, gas prices have gone down, so it'll probably stay the same, it won't go down. That's a rule. But, anyway, that stuff was, the last we bought was it was either $1.25 or $1.75 a foot. It's gonna take approximately 450, 500 foot to make that bore. And so you're looking at roughly $13,000 labor on your machine and then $1.25 to $1.75 a foot on your pipe, up to 500 foot. $875, so 800.
If it's the largest, yeah, it's 800 to 175.
And if it's $1.25, it'd be cheaper than that.
Right.
You think that will take care of the chain?
I think it will, it'll take care of that creek problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, as far as the pipe on each side of that, it's all right too. We replaced some of it, but there's still more that needs to be replaced.
And that's staying with 2-inch?
Yeah, 2 inch. There's no real call to go with anything any different because that's just going to the AgriLife Research Farm on East First. And I mean, you got a house and a school, you got two houses and a school up there, and then you got watering pins, so there's no, a 2-inch line take care of 10 houses per state, and, it'd take care of more than that, really. So there's really no use in it. And the Agri-Life Research Center won't need anything, because they've got their own wells with, I laid, I can't remember, 4 or 6-inch lines all through that several years ago for irrigation systems, so they're all right on everything else.
You wouldn't happen to have on you like how much it's cost to repair it every time, or just like the last time?
No,
You know,
whatever a crew cost and more
Right.
pipe,
it just keeps going up. So
yeah, go out there and go digging.
I think, cost efficient, definitely just get it
Yeah,
repaired, fixed the right way.
and not the, whenever it parks right there, you gotta wait for the creek to go down before you can get in there and fix it. So they're out of water, you know, while you're doing that.
Yes, sir.
So we need a motion to, is that what we need to do?
Mhm.
You put a figure on it or just make a motion to do it?
Do we need a complete figure or just make the motion?
For an amount, put an amount.
So if we
That's
make a-
13,825, so he said that's, bids of what, a month old, so whether it's come up or not.
It'll be 14,825, and then if it goes up or down, it fluctuates one or the other.
Make the bid higher, I mean, the amount higher.
To not to exceed a certain amount.
Yes, sir.
15,000.
Do you wanna put a cap on 15 or 16?
Whatever you wanna do.
I make a motion that we fix that pipe for the amount of $15,000.
I'll second that.
Call for the vote, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. See, this was put on here, like January, and then it was brought back up a couple more times. And so, we know we have a lot more problems out there than, before this can even be installed. But, this was the, C talked about discuss and take action on the waterfall fountain at the lake, and this is tabled. But, I think we got more problems out there that we need to attend to than that waterfall at this particular time. So, it's up to the board what y'all want to do. I think we got some electrical
So,
issues.
instead of tabling it, we probably just need to remove it. Remove it until some other problems are fixed. So, I make a motion to remove the waterfall from the agenda until a later time.
Got a motion?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Letter D talks about, this is one I put on there. We can just talk, discuss, or take action on the marking on the parking spaces at Kenneman Square. We don't have to act on this, but at least we can kind of discuss it a little bit.
This is something that really needs to, we need to look at something taking place, because we have a hazard down there to begin with as far as the, concrete is where the Kennemer's building used to be. It's uneven, it's dangerous for young folk and old folks, middle-aged folk can get around all right. But,
It's just old folks.
Video
But
game.
I mean, it's really a hazard. It needs to, The only thing you can really go in there and do is go in there with like a skid steer and a hammer and go breaking all that up, bust all that up and get it out of there. And then you need to figure out what we're gonna do next. You can let it be dirt and mow it. Some of that, like what it's talking about as far as parking spots in front of it, is that what you're kind of
Yeah.
referring to? It needs to have it needs to have all of it kind of done at once, really. But it's, you take a skid steer in there and a hammer and break all that up and haul it out. And, you might can take it, what you're talking about as far as where the parking is the parking area all right now where it's at, or you
Yeah,
need to enlarge it?
there's no markings there.
You can tell where the old marks or old stripes were.
You have to look real hard.
Shall be about 9 feet.
So say we can repaint it if it's just stripes. I did that at church one time, because I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I was going through steroids and stuff.
Right.
We could kind of temporarily paint it, stuff like what you're talking about, and try to get some kind of plan together to go in there and,
Fix it.
well,
Or do something.
get it to where it's, I mean, they're trying to have events on that thing now, and it's
We need
yeah.
to do something with Cameron.
As far as
So
that's
it's-
concerned, is that something the city employees could do, or we're gonna have to have somebody come in and do it, another contractor? I don't know, what are the options?
I guess me and the mayor can do it.
I'm down.
I gave one thumbs up.
Yeah.
He got those thumbs.
Strike it.
We would
Yeah.
need the OEDC to rent the, skid steer and hammer, and then maybe we could figure out the city dump truck we could load it up and haul it out of there in the city dump truck. And, now what goes on after that? Cause you're gonna have a mud pile there,
Yeah.
need to think about that.
Really, if we're gonna use it, then you really need to have in place something to go on after, if we're gonna do that.
I mean-
We don't wanna know about too many people wanting to use that thing the high school and other groups are wanting to use it, so.
We might can direct them to the park until we could get something done. I know we'll have to do this in stages, cause you'll run out of money.
Yeah.
If you go to try to reconcrete that thing or pave it, so it's gotta be done in stages. And we might can redirect some of those projects to the park, as far as events, whichever to the park, until we can get something done with that.
Yeah.
It's either that or prepare it to sell to somebody that could come in there and do something, or, I mean, 'cause it's pretty evident nothing's happened to it in a long time since the city took it over. It's just been the same, basically eyesore for several years now.
Yeah. And so we can always just start getting plans together from
Yeah.
stage 1, stage 2, at least planning it out.
Yes, and then, I mean, now you're gonna have to take the concrete up, there's no way around taking that concrete up. So, if we wanna just discuss that and figure out, okay, so what are we gonna do when the concrete comes up? Okay, we're gonna have to barricade it off and wait 2 or 3 months till we can do something different, but we're gonna have to spray it to keep the weed control down, especially during these summer months, It's just some things to consider.
It's a pretty big project.
What do you think, it would cost to repair the whole thing, do it right?
I mean,
Estimate the cost.
I'm-
That was square footage,
yeah, I don't have the square footage, to do it right. I mean, if it was gonna just be like a regular event center, like what's been taking place down there this whole time, I would assume you'd want concrete,
Oh, you got that.
and so, and I don't honestly know that, I'd have to.
Yeah, so you'd have to do about, I swear.
Square footage, yeah.
No, could the
Price of concrete's changing daily too.
Oh, yeah.
Could the OMDD, I wonder if they could help on some of that.
They can, legally, they can. Yeah, they sure can. It might be something that both groups could partner
Came
up
up with both of them to do it.
So since this business item was really about marking those parking spaces, can that just be done? And then this other discussion about, until we kind of,
You do research on,
Yeah.
Get a plan together.
yeah.
right, so,
I guess I guess I just kind of misread that. I thought it was doing something with that whole deal, cause it's been talk in the past to make all that area a parking spot. And so that's where I guess I kind of went out of bounds on that.
we can put that on the next agenda.
Don't say it's out of bounds, I think
No.
there needs to be something done.
It's
It is a hazard.
It's tied in. But yeah, we'll move that to the next agenda and then make a vote on, recommending repainting. I make a motion to just repaint the existing lines.
And we,
Second.
call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Letter E, discuss the progress of the water line work at the Overton City Park.
They pretty much got all all the 4 inches done. They was boring going to the clubhouse yesterday. And then we still have to go across the ball field, or the golf course to the baseball field. So that's still a bore to happen. So it's probably another week out as far as all the boring done. Then we'll just have to go in there and tie everything in and cover it up, and then hook the existing 6-inch into it, and then get water. So we're probably another week or two out on the bores, and then a good week. Well, I would say a week or two out on the other. Just depends on the problems we have as far as throughout the rest of the city.
I think that boring was a good idea because it didn't tear the park up near as much with digging would have done.
No, we've saved a lot of trees, and it, as far as the golf course goes and the park area, I mean, it helped a whole lot. You're gonna spend the same amount of money, if not more, time you get through with erosion control and, hauling more dirt in because it washed out and all that, so.
And weather dependent.
The roughly gonna be, we don't know an exact cost. The board approved up to 100,000, but we're thinking it's gonna be somewhere in the mid-60s as far as the work itself. The materials there, you see the material, it costs you a little less than 10,000. And then the labor and machinery is gonna be, we're hoping in the mid-60s if we don't get into any more problems going across the golf course. We did find one line we had no idea about. Didn't hit it. One thing about Yarborough and them that does the directional boring, Shannon, he comes out there, he's been doing that stuff for many, many years, and he comes out there and does a survey of everything, and that survey includes going through there and finding all your existing lines, measuring them throughout the project to see how deep and shallow they are, to where he can send that bore however he needs to send it. So there was 2 weeks worth of work figuring all that out before any boring ever started. So, which is a lot better than these other people we had come through town. They didn't come do no surveys, and they just bored on into water lines.
Digging.
And that happened throughout East Texas. New London, Gilmer, Henderson. Everywhere we looked at these guys with this fiber optic just boring right straight through water lines.
Yeah.
Kilgore lost a 16-inch line that they bored through, and lost the town that day on that. Had to shut down Chili's, and so
Are they holding them responsible to do that when it ought to be some markings?
You try, you send them, you send them bills and stuff, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Cause they're all third-party contractors, so.
They are, the only
We'll
thing
just
they
rename the company in a few months after it's all done.
yeah, the only thing I figured out they really understood, they was boring on a Sunday here, which I had no idea they was boring. And they hit a 2-inch water line, and, yeah, I told them to shut it down. And then they just rigged back up like they fixed to start going again. I was like, I've never seen anything, so like, then the police department went out there and said, maybe you need to go to jail, and they understood that part. And they shut it down for Sunday.
Any more discussion, questions? All right, we'll move on to letter F. And this also could be just worked out in stages, whatever the board decides to discuss the electrical, outlet repairs, replacement at the Overton City Park or / RV Park as a future OEDC project.
The electrical boxes has been there since the beginning of the Bluegrass Festival years ago, and a lot of those are just bad. You don't know whether the wires, severed but you just got bad outlets. It's really, it just all needs to be totally redone.
I know Rick had mentioned putting all new breakers in, and maybe, and for the part, all new, what's the plug, the special plug?
Receptacle.
Huh?
Uh,
Reset plugs.
Yeah,
Some of
ground,
it works on, them, don't.
The
like
GPC.
one of those-
GPC, ground protection circuit, yeah.
Yeah,
Where they're hopefully covered and you kind of weather protection,
yeah.
Yeah, when we went out to the park, we found several, that weren't even mounted anymore, they were just laying over on the grass and rain,
If
water
that's-
was sitting in rainwater.
And if that's something that OEDC wants to look at, I'm gonna make a suggestion so somebody can run into the same problems I've been running into, they can be responsible for getting the bids. And that way, y'all can see firsthand what I'm saying, when I say it's hard to get bids. And then I hope you find out something different to learn me something new, to where it's easier, because bids on electrical outlets throughout the park, used to, you could. 10 years ago, you get bids all day long, but I don't know what's happened to our society in the last few years. It's,
Well, just asking, is this something Rick could do if we bought the parts, some of it?
there's no doubt Rick could do any of it. He could do all of it. But the thing you get into is right now, you spread us thin,
I know.
and so we're trying to do good at one job, and we figure out we failed at all jobs because you can only do so many things. I think our finance / city secretaries figured that out over the last few months, that you just, one person can only absorb so much.
And could the OEDC help with some of this also? You think?
They can legally, they can. If I done that, I'd probably pick out sections like, OEDC do this, just kind of
Right.
go, and we might need to break it all up like that. Kind of attack it a little at a time where we don't outspend our money.
I think it's a great idea, actually. Break it down in little quadrants and this section here, this section there.
So is the RV park in desperate need of some, we'd like it to be a first
It should be.
stage one?
I mean, if you was looking at the business side of it, the RV park should be the
The
first.
yeah.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
When you're talking about bidding, how many bids, we have the same problem. some of the people think, I think some of the bidders think that you're not gonna use this anyway. There's no sense in bidding on it. That's the way I'm looking at it, because you can't get 3 bids hardly anymore.
It's hard to.
You can't get it.
Mm.
You might get 1 or 2.
Yeah,
With the most, you better go with it.
Yep, exactly. It's and I can see it. I mean, even years ago when I was in business, I mean, when somebody called me to ask me for a bid, I had plenty of work to begin with. I didn't need to waste my time
Get
bidding.
involved
There
with
you go.
it, yeah.
You know, I didn't need no schooling. I needed to work, and that was my attitude on it. I'm not saying that I was right. It was just that was my attitude on it. And you could either get me or you didn't. And I stayed plenty busy, but I don't know. It's still a difference. When we would show up to bid pipelines back then, there'd all be 6 contractors show up, and of course they'd all make their side deals, you know, and then one would get it. And now none of them show up. It's like, I mean, I waited down there Monday for about an hour. I didn't wait long. I had other stuff I was doing down there, but one guy was gonna show up, he never showed. It was like, okay, we'll try again next week.
So as us as board members or whoever, you know, if, we all, if one of us decides we can find somebody that'll go look at the RV park, and that's an okay movement, an okay move, I guess.
Mhm.
This is just discussion.
Yeah, it's just, I guess we just approved to get bids on it,
Does,
you right?
Just,
Yeah, that would be.
Just something to go by.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If anybody knows people to call, I don't mind calling people.
The only one that comes to mind as far as electrical goes is like, and I don't know where he's at anymore, Dana Vincent, that used to be with,
Yeah.
over at Henderson.
Laser.
Yeah, but he's not with Blazer no more.
That would be 2.
Oh, you know another?
Well, we got Blazer and then trying to find Dana. That's assuming anybody will show up. Gotta try.
I don't know if there's any local people, electrical
do,
contractors.
I mean, do we have probably not here, you know, overlay of it with how many outlets?
You can go up there and look at the RV park and say, well, there's those outlets, and, you know, you got them on the upper side and the lower side, and an electrician can look at it and tell what needs to be done,
And that lower side is one that.
where the trailers are now.
Yeah, okay. So those are pretty much in use all the time.
Yeah, well, they've been using the upper side because some of the lower side's damaged, they don't work, so you gotta go where you can find it. And it's all electrical, it's just all big, it's just old.
But the ones that do work are like, that's enough voltage, enough power for the RVs, or do they need anything else? That's, I guess, the other question.
They need to be checked.
They all
out.
need to be redone, really.
Yeah.
Said he had to, you know, would get him like lower voltage in one, he had to switch over to another.
Right.
I mean,
So I don't know.
we actually I had one guy, of course I know him, and they come out there and I said, well, you try over there and see if that'll work. He said, let me get my voltmeter out and see what works around here. And so you got a customer that's gonna be paying monthly rent, going around to see what's gonna work. I mean, it's like, whatever. But this didn't just happen yesterday. I mean, it was like that 10 years ago. I mean,
Not longer.
yeah.
Try to get some bids on it, just so have something to go by.
Yeah. Yeah, I make a motion to get some bids. I'll try to go get, I know one person, I can try to go get bids from them if you wanna get bids, and then we can compare. If that makes sense. So make a motion to get bids, to repair the, electrical outlets at the park and RV.
I second.
If there's no more discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Right. G, discuss developing a sports complex for the city of Overton. This item is carried over from January and March meetings. Mr. Smith had a suggested putting a plan together to look at what will work towards including the, need for a year-round season maintenance / keep up.
I have not talked to Reggie anymore. I thought he and, what's the guy's name? Chapman, they were gonna present, I thought sometime that they were gonna come and present something to the board where we'd look at a plan, you know, and something to start looking at a plan, because we know this is a long time thing, piece by piece. It's not gonna happen right now. At least we need a plan in place so we can look at what we are hoping to get done. But, neither one of them is here and has not presented a plan, if I know of.
The first thing, I mean, that's good, a plan be good with them, and the first thing that would have to be done is clearing.
Well, yeah,
And that's gonna take, you can go in there and clear that thing, I mean, you clear it within 3 or 4, you know, couple, 2 or 3 weeks and get everything burned up. But then you're still gonna have sticks to pick up over the year, you know, and mow, and the more you run over that piece of ground after you get through clearing, the better it gets, and you figure out what your land's gonna do, so truthfully, the clearing part's gonna be the first thing that needs to be done, and then you can start getting your plans after that. Now there's been two bids turned in for that. J.W. Green turned in a bid at $30,000, and that's to clear, remove all stumps, burn, and leave the property, you know, with no trees or growth on it. And then Jason Martin over at Troop or Concord, he bid $18,000 to do the same thing. Both companies has insurance as far as general liability. And, I know Jason's he told me he had a $500,000 general liability policy. I know J.W. Green's got a lot more than that for working for, oil company and stuff.
Umbrella 10 million.
Yeah, but, there's not a lot of liability out there as far as going out there and digging up stumps, you know, burning and all that stuff. It's,
the question I got, the dip, you know, Mr. Green, the 30,000 versus 18,000, why is it such a,
yeah,
yeah,
well,
and
I would probably just, as far as being the person that's owned the company with a lot of overhead, you gotta take care of that like J.W. Green does as far as the individual with a dozer and a traco, you can work cheaper. I mean, if I've got a dozer and traco, I can work cheaper versus if I got 60 guys working or 30 guys working and I have to, you know, provide, workers' comp and, you know, and all the extras that go along with it. Cause it goes off your annual income as far as what you pay, as far as your workers' comp, general liability, I mean, it goes off all that. But
how long are these figures,
Good for.
yeah, good for? Would you say?
I mean, nowadays, now, I don't know, you know, I'd say probably 30 days or something like that, but.
You mentioned J.W. Green a month ago, didn't you?
Right.
Had a meeting, so this is so months old. Jason's came in after that. I think J.W. Green, that's one of them we had last time.
One of the things I think, and I've said this before, hometown people, even though the price is higher than his hometown. You know, that's $12,000 difference there, but I think you can get more out of hometown than you can out of, and why not use the people who are gonna help the town, you know, in other instances.
They're the first, hometown's the first person these groups are gonna go to for a donation.
Yeah.
First.
Right.
They have every time. I know I got sick of it finally because, and like me and the superintendent had a talk here a while back, you know, they used a contractor out of Marshall to do a job up here. And, you know, the first thing they did was hit a water line. Well, use somebody local, they might have known where that water line was, you know, and like I told him, you know, all the school activities, first thing they wanna do is come to all these businesses, hit them up for a job, and then they give a job to somebody out of town.
Do we need to table that as far as making the decision, or are we close to choosing someone to clear it? Are we ready for that?
It's just raw land sitting there, it can be done whenever, it can be done this year or next year. It's just sitting there, if it's something that you would prefer tabling, I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything to table it, or if something you wanted to go ahead and start on, it doesn't matter either way.
What is the design board? I'm asking.
You do have, like, baseball season going on right now,
Right.
and, so there'll be a little conflict with that if they got games going on. It's something that could be done in the wintertime if it was, you know, I mean, just kind of something to think on, you know.
So the baseball season's still going on, but
Yeah,
I
still
think
we
just
wanna
table it
start
for a month.
I don't know when the baseball season ends.
Well, you
May 31st, I think they finished the end of May.
You'll be hauling, they'll be hauling stuff in and out, you're gonna have to come in from the ball field side because you can't come in from the golf course. So it might
And
be,
then all the big equipment, and then stuff that old road.
yeah, and it's, you know, if it's
I'd
one,
like to go after that.
one thing about tabling, it's not like you're gonna get a, sports complex
No.
for next year.
Probably several years.
And if you table it, it's, just let the money build up a little bit before just something to kind of look at it.
Decision of the board.
So I guess my question is, with tabling it, does it have to come up the next month or next month, or can it be moved to it doesn't have to show up every month?
You can put it on make the motion. and
Say
bring
when
it
you wanna
back up.
bring it back.
Yeah.
Make decide when to bring it back.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table this, but bring it back at a future date, because we also would be interested in it.
I mean, you bring it back like in September, you know,
After baseball.
yeah, and get kind of your winter months,
Once you set a time, that way we won't forget about it, so.
I won't bring it back.
where you'll be burning in a better time of the year as far as.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
One thing I will remember, I'll remember this, I may not remember anything else.
I'll second that motion.
If there's no more discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Future meetings. Does anyone need to leave the absence for the next board meeting? On May the 16th? Let me see if I need to leave the absence.
I might leave one. Boy, y'all looking y'all calendar like y'all got something going on.
Just seeing what day that's
Softball
on.
games, baseball games.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
I got a game the 15th, that's all I was thinking.
You that plan down.
No one needs to leave the absence yet. No. Yet.
Going to stadium, because I think I'll be back. For 6 days.
Uh-oh.
Need one last motion?
At a sports complex.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
God with a vote, all in favor, raise your right hand. Meeting adjourned, Dr. West.
All right, for my development, question, when we approve something, like we just talked about, we're gonna table something, push it back, it's done, when we approve something,